I think the 10,000 foot answer is my wife loves chocolate and I love starting businesses. So probably like 8 years ago, we experimented with chocolate at our townhouse.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back from Maker to Manufacturer. I am so excited to be talking to Deric today. As a lot of you know, we've talked a bit about what it's like to go viral on social media, the impacts that has on your business, and the challenges that come with, if you have a product that all of a sudden is doing amazingly well, and what does that look like on the back end? How does that impact you? How do you keep up with demand? And how do you make this transition from I'm just doing it for fun to like, oh shit, now it's a business. And now I have products that I have to deliver. So I'm so excited to have Deric here today. He's going to be sharing about his brand, which is Wicked Bold Chocolates, and his journey as an entrepreneur in this space. So welcome, Deric.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for having me. I'm all of these things, the maker, the oh shit guy, all of it.
Right. Just taking care, wearing all the hats, which I think is the story for most of us as we start out on these journeys.
Oh yeah.
So, share a little bit, please, about how you ended up having a chocolate company.
Yeah. So I think the 10,000 foot answer is my wife loves chocolate and I love starting businesses. So probably like 8 years ago, we experimented with chocolate at our townhouse that we're living in Fort Myers, Florida. And we didn't have the right equipment. Not that you need anything massive, but we didn't have anything that would make chocolate, and it was horrible, horrible. So we put it away and didn't really think anything of it until 2019. We were moving to Texas, and I was a little burnt out in my corporate job. I like really worked my ass off for like 4.5 years. And I was a VP of sales and everything was great, like from the outside in, but I just hated like who I had become, like this corporate slave. So on the truck drive to Texas, we decided let's pick up chocolate again. We got the right piece of equipment and we just started making chocolate.
I love the fact that you lived in Florida, which is not known for its chocolate-friendly outdoor weather,
No.
to Texas, which is definitely not known for its outdoor chocolate-friendly weather. And you're like, let's make this meltable
Yeah, well,
luxury
if
good.
I had given any thought to what I was making, maybe that would have been one of the things that came up. But it was just let's start this little side hustle and see what happens.
Oh, that's great. So you started that in 2019 then, or
Yep.
so you are 4 years into this now.
Yeah, just about. I think our 4 year anniversary was like right now.
That's fantastic. Well, congratulations on 4 years. That's
Thank
a
you, thank you.
huge milestone in manufacturing business.
Yeah, we're doing it. We're doing it.
So at this 4 year anniversary, what does Wicked Bold look like today? What does the business look like today?
Yeah. I wanted the word that came to mind was shambles, but maybe I could be a little bit more positive about about where we're at. We've definitely evolved like a shitload over especially the last 12 months. So if we were to have this conversation 12 months ago, we're in my little like facility. It's a little 1,000 square foot facility. A year ago, I would have been making all of our chocolate for our e-commerce and our Whole Foods customer, small scale, like 14 stores for Whole Foods. And I would have been bagging it, packaging it, shipping it, delivering it. I was doing everything. But today, we have a co-manufacturer up in Washington State. We have a logistics company up in Wisconsin that manages all of our distribution for us. So now, like, I don't even make chocolate anymore, because in April we launched with 1,300 Walmart stores, and now next month we're launching national with Sprouts. So we're blowing up a little bit right now, but it still feels like it's in shambles. Like it's very much we're like rebuilding an engine in mid-flight.
Right. Well, congratulations on the Sprouts deal.
Thank you.
And I didn't realize you were in 1,300 Walmarts. I thought it was only 800.
Yeah, they expanded us. We launched in 800 and like within 2 months they'd expanded us to like 1,400 stores.
Okay, wow. That is yeah, that's amazing. So, you're in 1,300 Walmarts, you're about to launch into Sprouts. And what were some of, the challenges that you kind of faced over the last year trying to get there though?
It just the scale, like when you're operating small time, like doing, like a couple $1,000s a month, like the mistakes are always negligible, like when you're ordering raw materials or packaging, it's all just, it's table stakes. But when you start getting into, we got a PO from Walmart for like $500,000. And coming with that is also like I have to navigate hundreds of thousands of packages of chocolate, or for the chocolate, the caddies that it needs to go into, the master cartons that it needs to go into, the hierarchy. It was all, you're starting to get into not only like much more nuanced ways to deal with like big boy business or big girl business of like massive scale. But now the money isn't negligible anymore. It's like, a minimum run to make our margins work. I have to order like 300,000 pouches, and you have to like do the math of like, all right, what's our velocities? And you don't even have the answers to the tests yet. Like you're just at the beginning. So it's like, is the hazelnut going to move faster, or the spicy, or the sea salt? Are they going to move equally? Because it would be stupid to do 100,000 of each SKU. Like that's not going to happen. So it's like all these advanced mathematical calculations you get, and then the stakes are much higher. Like Walmart's not going to wait for me to deliver the product. So if I don't order something correctly, my turnaround times are like weeks or months to get the right stuff in. So the stakes just get a little bit higher at this point.
Yeah, definitely. And the mistakes then are amplified so quickly too. Even a smallest mistake on, purchasing packaging materials, that's 5 cents more per unit, but all of a sudden, instead of ordering 20, you're ordering 200 or 500.
Well, it's also the part of relying on other people is one of the biggest things that I've had to kind of grapple with, because obviously like when I'm 12 months ago, the only person I had answer to or have expectations of was me, pretty much. I always had plenty of packaging because we're moving a few hundred a week. It's not anything crazy. But now you've got to go out and find a co-manufacturer and then trust that they're going to do the right thing, and they're going to hit timelines and do your products to specifications and get it shipped out on time. And then you've got your trucking company. Do they pick it up on time? Do they get it there on time? Are they late? There's all these added layers of complexity as your business grows, because it's not like it just can't be you anymore at that scale. And we already had one mistake with our co-manufacturer, the first one we picked in California. I thought I did everything right. Like I went out there, I met them, talked to them, had multiple conversations with them, and they ended up just absolutely screwing me. Stole a bunch of money from us, and kind of we had to like limp our way up to Washington and hopefully try to recover. But in retrospect, it's always like the finer details that you just you're moving 1,000 miles a minute. And there are just things that you wish you would have known to check for that you just didn't know. Like I went into their facility and it was so big. It was such a big, I was like, oh, you guys obviously have this under control. But the one thing that they didn't have was an automated packaging machine for the chocolate. And I didn't even, because I don't have one. Right. So I'm just looking at it like, all right, well, I do this many, if they have this much, and I just didn't even think about the speed in which it takes to do 70,000 or 80,000 pouches of chocolate. And without that piece of equipment, they had to hire like 50 people to come in and get that done over a weekend or 2 weekends. And it was just, it killed them and it killed me.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. And the questions that you don't even know to ask because you've never been in that environment, right? If you've never worked in a manufacturing facility before, how would you know?
Yeah, it's exactly like I didn't know what that level of scale was supposed to look like. So for me, the bigger building was the checkbox. Like they had all these employees walking around. I was like, oh, this is what they do. It's like I trusted them to know what I needed. And that was like my biggest mistake of just like not making sure I knew what I needed.
Yeah.
But it was also just so under the gun. Like everything happened so quickly. So I really don't know if I could have done much. It was either pick them or don't make the chocolate for Walmart. It was that tight of a decision.
Yeah. So yeah, and it may have been a costly decision, but ultimately looking at it, it looks like, that may have cost you a decent amount in making the wrong decision, but it at least set you up that now that you've made a better one.
Yeah, lessons learned.
Right, exactly. So what does the next few years look like for Wicked Bold?
Don't die.
Don't die. Always a good plan. I fully support that plan.
Yeah. I'm kind of still figuring that out, just to be honest. Like, one thing I'm good at business, like getting business in, like Walmart, Sprouts. I obviously have a decent social media following to push some chocolate, like direct to consumer. Where I'm at right now is I'm actually going to start slowing down a little bit for these next like 12 to 18 months and now work on like velocities at these stores, like Walmart, Sprouts. Like when you're first getting started, you have these visions of like, man, if I could just get Sprouts, if I could just get like these Walmart stores, and then you get them and you realize it's like all the cracks in the business just get amplified. You can't grow yourself into like success. You've got to like you can't skip the line, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like you've got to work on some fundamental aspects of the business. So that's these next couple of years for me is going to be like building the foundation of what Wicked Bold can be as it continues to get bigger and bigger. Because without any foundation, we're going to crumble.
I love it. You're talking my, I'm an operations person, so you're talking my love language right there.
Oh, bro, that's like my devil's language. I hate operations. But I only hate it because I don't know how to do it. Like I'm the go. Like there's no door that's locked. There's no wall that can keep me out. I'm building the business. The operations stuff is like, I'll do that at another time. But then that's the stuff that starts showing the cracks in the business of like just the efficiencies or lack thereof that can be the decision that can be like the make or break for a business.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, I love people like you because I'm not a creative, I'm not a visionary. And you were like, we have an idea and we're going to do it. And I'm like, you do it. I'll be back here and I'll make sure you've got a foundation. You go do the thing.
Yeah, I need a you, I think, because one thing that I've learned about myself over the last like 10 years is that when I want to do something, I do it. Like there is no stopping me. So I'm actually starting to be like, damn, should my like goals become a little bit bigger? Like, should I be like trying to get to Mars or something? It's like if I set it and I can achieve it, like it's gonna get crazy. But I need a Stephanie because I won't turn around until it's too late. I'll be like, holy shit, the building's on fire.
Yeah, no, yeah, I mean, first of all, you want to get your chocolate on Mars, we will get you the first chocolate on Mars. Like, let's make it happen. We're gonna speak it into existence right now. But yeah, that's, it's the visionaries, I'm like stumbling over my words, but you go and you're doing the things, and sometimes it's like, well, hold up, like you're about to jump off a cliff without a bungee cord. Like, let me clip the bungee cord onto you first so we can pull you back if it doesn't work.
Yeah. Yeah. I currently just jump.
You're like, what? Someone will catch me. I'll catch an updraft. It'll be fine.
I jump with a bunch of Joanne's fabrics in my arm, and I'm like, I'll just build it as I'm falling. Like, we'll be fine. We'll be good.
It'll be great. No worries. So after, the last 4 years and all of these experiences that you've had, is there anything that you would go back and change or tell yourself when you were first starting out?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
There's one of my favorite quotes is a Steve Jobs quote. It says, you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. So I'm happy with where I'm at right this second. Tactically, I perhaps would have, paid a little bit more attention to like our cost of goods and stuff as I was like building the pricing models and stuff for the business, because, when we first started pricing it, I was looking at like, all right, where's my 40 or 50% gross margin as a fucking business that was like this much depth, like the only layers were like me and rent and then selling it to the consumer. And now all of a sudden there's, like I mentioned, like case packs and master cartons and trucking and storage and slotting fees. Like there's all these extra expenses that have ballooned, and I've had to kind of like back my way into that, and sacrifice like quite a bit of margin on our product to not become the enemy that I'm against, which is like a $9 bar of chocolate.
Yeah.
But that on the same side of that, I think it would have changed the intent of what I was building. If I was like trying to build a company, it's almost like a little bit of hubris to me of like, oh, I've got to factor in all these fucking expenses for when we most definitely are a $5 million company. It's like, no, dude, like I just want to make good chocolate and build a good chocolate company and kind of roll with the punches. But there's a balance somewhere. I think that we have found and either remedied or in the process of remedied all those little cracks in the right amount of time. Like there's really nothing that's going to break you other than like if you have a shit product, like no amount of margin will protect you on that.
Yeah.
So, we've always been product focused first. And then our consumer focus, like we want to make sure that it's an affordable and accessible price point. So other than some very tactical things, I don't think I'd change anything.
Awesome. No, I love that perspective, because so many people are like, oh, I want to go back and change this and this, but so much of what you experienced is what
Yeah.
has created what you have now.
For you to go back and change something would say like, I'm not happy with where I'm sitting. And if you're happy with where you're sitting, then no, you wouldn't change anything. But it's always like the lessons of the journey is half the battle. Like, one thing that I've learned, because this isn't my first business that I've ever started. I've started and failed like a bunch of stuff. The thing that I've learned is like without those failures, I would not be able to have what I have right now. So even those failures that I experienced, if I changed those, I would not be here. Like that very first thing that I ever started, I'll just pick one. Like I started a little tech support company in Fort Myers. If that had been successful, I would have never even imagined what my upper limits would have been. Like, if I was like 24 at the time, if I had built that into something where I was making $150,000 a year, I'd been happier than a pig in shit. Like it would have been the best thing ever. And I would have never gotten to Wicked Bold where we're doing, we're going to do almost $1 million this year. And we haven't even really like scratched the surface yet. So I think all that said, like I kind of live with like a no regrets type of mindset. It's like everything is part of the journey. And hopefully our journey can be long. Like hopefully we get to be really old people and do a whole bunch of other shit. But with that premise in mind, you've got to take like the licks. You got to take the wins and the losses because it all accumulates into like what your life story would be.
Yeah. That's fantastic. Well, thank you, Deric, for taking time to share your story today. It has been so fantastic to talk to you. So, you mentioned it briefly, but where can people find you to learn more about you and your chocolates?
So they can go to TikTok, and I'm the Bold Fam, at Bold Fam on TikTok, chocolateswickedbold.com. We're selectively nationwide at Walmart, so you got to go to our website and do our store finder for Walmart near you. And then if you're listening to this after October 15th, if you have a Sprouts store near you in like the Southern United States, because we are national with them, you can go and find us in the gluten-free section of Sprouts.
Nice. Well, thank you so much, Deric, and I hope you have a wonderful day.
I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you, Stephanie.